Thank you. Okay, let's move on. Module 5, give and take. Now, the Huan part, to have a breather, to have a space to breathe, especially when you're trying to, you have a problem, you're trying to resolve it. The purpose of the resolving is to have something to breathe, a space to breathe, so that it can go back to some kind of normalcy. Okay, so the space, how to get the space as for a breather is where we come to this hexagram 41 called 三折损 diminishing. Okay, diminishing. Basically, what it means here in Chinese, 还必有所失，故受之以损 means if you want a space to breathe, that means a resolution, you have to give up something. 还必有所失 means you have to give up something to have that peace of mind, or to have the peace of mind. So, layman term is called 破财消灾. In layman term, I think most of us can relate to this. 破财消灾. That means if you want peace or you want resolution, most of the time, most likely you have to trade with some kind of things. And in modern days, nowadays, it's usually money. Money. For example, if your aircon spoil and the weather is so hot, you cannot tahan, so you need a solution. Most of the time, you just pay money to get a repairman to come. Okay? So, for example, if you are not feeling well, you want to get better, that means get a solution to it, you want to get better, you have to pay money to see a doctor. So basically, you have to give up something to get that space, to get that peace, to get that solution. So this is what it means by the Chinese word 还必有所失. So like COVID-19, this is what Singapore did in order to get some space to breathe and for people to survive. Okay, so they just have to dig into their reserve to provide some solidarity budget also that Singaporean can still tide through the COVID-19 for 2020 last year. Then again, although we say that we have to spend to get the solution, there's also guidelines from I Ching on how to spend. Right? Basically, it means the highlighted Chinese word, loosely translated, it means we have to spend with integrity. That means if we need to dig into our reserve, we must make sure we are spending it with integrity. So in this case, if you think back to this hexagram number 8, can you recall what is hexagram number 8? Anyone can recall what is hexagram number 8? Oh, is it 8? Let me see. Is it 8? No, 7. Sorry, 7. Anyone can recall what is hexagram 7? Leading. Thank you. Leading. Now, leading means going to war, for example, right? And then in going to war hexagram, there's a guideline on when you can invoke this hexagram, right? Is that you must have a legitimate cause to go to war. So in this case, it's very similar. In order to spend that reserve, dig into a reserve and spend it, there must be a legitimate cause to spend it. So this is what this slide is trying to tell us. Means 有福原籍无咎，无咎 means no blame, no regret. 可真利有攸往 means if you are spending it with integrity for a legitimate cause, go ahead and spend. No regret, no blame. That is basically what it means. Okay? All right. For example, this is a negative example. There was an article about this Malaysian accused of bribing an ICA officer to speed up the process of her Singapore PR application. Yeah, she has a problem. Her PR application, she need it, but it's not being processed as fast as she would like to have. So in order to solve that problem, she innovatively thought about spending. Okay, and that spending means to bribe, so-called to bribe the police officer, the ICA officer to expedite her application. Now, it failed this guideline, spend with integrity. So the moment it failed this guideline, this spending become not legit. So not legit means putting herself into problem. So by the time if it's not legit, that means it become 有咎. It's no longer called 无咎, it's called 有咎. Or 有救 means it can be easily blamed for doing that thing, or you will have regret later on. And another guideline is that, this highlighted one is called 和之用. Or 和之用 means what is the intention for spending and when to spend. Okay, what is the intention? So for the reserve, the solidarity budget, the intention is to take the whole entire nation through COVID-19 in 2020. So the intention is pretty legit. So that's why, okay, you can go ahead and spend. And then 二鬼可用 Heng means basically what is taken from the people is used in the interest of the people. Then nobody will say a thing about it. Nobody would step into the parliament and say, hey, why you spend the reserve? Nobody would do that. Because what is taken from people is used in the interest of people, then it's 无咎 again. Also, this is Sun, the guideline for Sun. That means if you need to spend, these are guidelines to spend. So you can always use this for your own spending. Now, when I say for your own spending means if let's say you have an emergency fund kept elsewhere, rainy day fund, they call it rainy day fund. When do you need to use it? Okay, so there are some who are not disciplined enough. Every small thing they'll use the emergency fund, and then later on they find their emergency fund zero because they never put it back. Okay, put it back like 离卦. 离卦 means once the issue solved already, you leave the float that saved your life one side already. You never put it back to proper place. So you never resume back to the normalcy, to the preparedness part. So here is the same thing. Okay, so loosely translated, this is the simple guideline already. Okay, don't stinge when you need to spend, and don't splurge when you need to save. Chinese 当省不用，当用不省. Basically, this is what it means. 损卦. Give, give means give. Now, why do I Ching say in this 损卦, be careful of complacency? Anyone want to try to think deeper, think beyond? Why would I Ching want to say that there's a trapdoor for 损卦called complacency? Why would that be so? If let's say Singapore has legitimate reason to spend the reserve, to use the reserve, in doing so, it has legitimate reason, it's 无咎, but I Ching advised us that there is a trapdoor, even though there's a legitimate reason, and that trapdoor is called complacency. Now, why, if it's legitimate reason, why would there be a trapdoor like this called complacency? Anyone want to try? Think beyond, look for the water beyond the mountain. Mary say people will find excuse to use, if not counter check, and then can go into personal interest. Very good. Very good. That's number one. Very good, Mary. Thank you. Any more? You can refer to hexagram 29 and 30 if you want to have some hints. Philip say something will need to be sacrificed. Yes. Thank you, Philip. Thank you. By using the reserve now, that means lesser will be reserved for our future generation. So true. Philip, thank you very much. Now, the way I look at it, why I put that complacency as a trapdoor, the way I look at it is that yes, we can there's legitimate reason to use the reserve. But if I refer back to hexagram 29 and 30, which means the kan gua and the li gua. Okay, let me read out what Philip said. So use need to put back in the future. Otherwise, the next crisis you are done for. Exactly. Very good, Philip. Very good. Exactly. Thank you very much. Okay, back to where I stopped just now. If you think back about hexagram 29 and 30, kan gua, then li gua. Kan gua is about the danger. Right? And then in kan gua, the I Ching says, the hexagram says that, there will be light at the end of the tunnel. So we just have to act like water. We persevere, circumvent the issue so that, we can just reach to the end of the tunnel and can see the light. And then we move on to Li Gua 30. In 30, Li means Li Kai. Li Kai means leaving the place. Now, each time when we're out of danger, we just leave the place just like that and we forget about the float. Okay, so we forget to put back the emergency fund. That could be one thing, or we forget, okay, or we forget about learning from mistake. Okay, we forget about learning from the mistake that put us in that danger in the first place. So if let's say after spending this reserve, and then we get complacent with what we are doing, and then we went into second wave, just like now, today, this week, last week, this the CB 2.0, then aren't we wasting these resources that we have taken before? This is called complacency. The way I understand it to be means, yes, although we are out of danger for a while, we have a breathing space, we cannot get complacent until we are totally, fully out of the danger. Otherwise, we'll be wasting these resources. Okay, so this is what I think it means. You are all correct. For those who commented, you are also correct. But this is how I see things. That means we cannot be complacent. Okay, so let's move on. So let me ask you this. When you give someone a gift, what comes back to you? A gift, yes. In Chinese, called 礼尚往来. So it's always a reciprocal thing, right? Very good. So basically, what it means is if you give, you take back something. So for government to spend, they take back some breathing space. Okay, so that is a gift to Singaporean. That breathing space is a gift to Singapore government and Singaporean. So we shouldn't be complacent enough to let go of the gifts. So just be mindful about that. Now, so Sun and Yi, hexagram 41, hexagram 42. Anyone can recall when do we use 41 and 42? What kind of situation do we want to use 41 and 42 the most? I think I spoke about that in AOM1. If any one of you can recall. When do we use hexagram 41? 42. Yes, thank you, Alan. Toppling. When we reach toppling and we want to get back to unshakable, okay, we use hexagram 41 and 42. In fact, it's 42 first and 41, okay? Then unshakable. So in this case here, what do we mean by, sun gua? Let's examine this one. Let's examine this one. So this is Tai Gua. Okay, this is Tai Gua. Oh, where's my pen? Let me take out my pen first. So this is hexagram 11, unshakable. Okay, unshakable. Now, unshakable means there is a yin-yang interaction. So everything is in the momentum of success. Now, on top here can means the government. The government. Below here can means the citizen. So the moment we take something from the citizen, okay, and give it to the government, to upstairs, it's like tax, income tax like that, or property tax, or corporate tax, or whatever tax. It's taking tax from the people and give it to the government. This is called diminishing. Okay, diminishing. That means taking away something. If it's a tax, fine. I think most government will need tax to pay off a lot of things, in the government running. So this is fine. But if they take something else besides tax from the government unnecessarily, that means it's really taxing the citizen. And that is called 损卦. 损 basically means 损下. If you 损下 means you go and take something from the below, that means naturally it's going to benefit someone from the top. This is called 损下益上. Now for 易卦, hexagram 42 is opposite. It's opposite. Why I say opposite is that, this is hexagram 12, 天地痞. On top is again government, below is citizen. Now this time round, the 易卦 means 损上益下. 损上益下 means you go and take something from the top, which means the government, and give it to the bottom, which is the citizen. So here is you take one from the government oops, you take one from the government and you give it to the citizen, and that's where we have 42. So this is something like GST rebate, whatever rebate, that kind of thing, or Singapore share or Singapore bond, that kind of thing. This is called 损上益下. And then whenever there's 损上益下, that means citizen benefit lah. So this is what it means by 损益啦，损益, give and take. So don't expect to receive if you are not willing to give, because 损卦益卦 is a buddy卦. Buddy卦means if you want to have something, you must first of all be able to give away something. It's a fair trade, So this is something like a principle of equivalent exchange. Now I put that equivalent exchange. I'm not referring to equal exchange, means $1 for $1. No, equivalent means it's not monetary value, but it's just value. So for example, if somebody give you a handmade gift, to you it may means more valuable than $100 gift. Okay, because the value is different now. The sentimental value is different. So that's why I call that as equivalent exchange. So on the flip side, don't expect to be successful if you are not willing to go through the challenges. This is also a form of 损益. 损益 means you've got to put in your effort, you've got to give away your time, effort, and blood and sweat so that you can be receiving success. And universe doesn't close one door without getting ready to open another with bigger and greater things. So as a reminder, if one of the door closed for you and you like that door so much, stop staring at that closed door lah. It is time where you should be looking around for a new door that's going to open very soon that will bring you something bigger and something greater. Okay, so this is called 损益. Now talk about 损E. Sorry, talk about E. There is a trapdoor about E. That means hexagram 42. And that trapdoor is, if you look at this video, I think you know what's a trapdoor of receiving. You keep on receiving, keep on receiving. This is what universe will do to you. It will just overflow. Okay, it just overflow. Now, in Chinese, it's called 满招损千受益. Can you recall last week which hexagram did we talk about? 满招损千受益. Anyone can recall? Type in the chat box if you can recall. We talked about that in last week lesson. 满招损千受益. Try to dig back your memory. Come. You see, when it comes to AOM2, I keep repeating what we have learned. I keep repeating because you just can see shadows of what you have already learned. Mary say we'll go into major offense. Good, major offense, very good. Okay, the Yi Gua and also the Da You Gua. The Da You Gua. Remember the great possession Gua is something like Yi lah. Yi means receiving, right? If you keep on receiving, you have great possession, right? So when you keep on having great possession, when the cup is full, it will just flow out. So when you have Yi, you must 损 a bit. Okay? Voluntarily go and 损 a bit lah. So that's why rich people, wealthy people, successful people, they always do charity, they always do donation. Okay? If they don't do it voluntarily, nature will just take care of it lah. Okay, so this is just an example of the property tycoon, a very successful property tycoon in Hong Kong. If you look at his record, he's very good with donations or building schools or providing support to education institution. And that's where we come to 43, deciding. And why deciding? Okay, why deciding? Is when you come to the point of nearing to the max, at one point you have to decide whether you want to keep some more or whether you want to give up some more. So if you compare this picture on the right this glass of water almost filling up to the brim, and compared to this hexagram on the left, you find a similarity, right? Similarity as in this is like a cup on the left. This is like a cup, and then all the yang line is like the water level. Okay, yang line, all the water level, all the way near to the brim, except for the last bar, which is still empty. That's why it's called ing. And this is what it means here. That means this ing is soon going to be pushed out. When it's pushed out enough beyond a certain point, it will just overflow. So at one point, you have to decide whether you want to give up something or not. That's why this, if you compress it, is a 对卦. And 对卦means missing, means to give away something, or to throw away something, or to cut away something. Basically, this is what it means. So we come down to hexagram 43, which is deciding. So if you look at this hexagram, you find that there is one ing. It can mean a 小人, and there are 5 yang line, which can mean 君子. Okay, 君子means gentleman, and 5 gentlemen and 1 小人. Basically, this is what it means. So, and what happened is that this 小人, just nice, happened to climb all the way to the top, okay, and above the rest of the 5 君子. Now, of course, it means that this 小人 has climbed up the whatever ladder, corporate ladder, or the political ladder, or whatever ladder, all the way to become the 亢龙. 亢龙 means the number 6 dragon. And when it become 亢龙, that means the number 1 supreme, for example, leader, but is a very autocratic kind of a leader, then the rest of the 君子, which is the 5 yang line, will want to one day push this 小人 out. Basically, it is something like that glass of water almost filling to the brim. And this is also one part of 拐卦, what it's trying to tell us. It means 5 gentlemen trying to push away the common enemy. There are a lot of examples. For example, 2 years back, is it 2 years back? I think Malaysia, they deem the political arena. They deem that Najib was that 6th line, the ing line, and they wanted to band together to push him out so that they can pull in one good government that can lead Malaysia forward, which is a good cause, a legitimate cause. But if you learn about 拐卦, this hexagram, you know that what they had been doing so far that we know of. Actually, a lot of time they failed this 拐卦. So let's look at certain conditions when 拐卦can be invoked and when can it be put to good use. So let's look at the conditions. Number one, if you want to push out that 小人, now of course all the 5 yang line, all the 5 gentlemen must be united, because when they unite, then they stand. The moment they divide, they will straight away fall apart, which already happened. And their activities has to be above board. That means they cannot go under table, go and pull votes. You can see MP switching sides, switching parties. This is not above board already. This is under water already. Okay, so they are doing all this. So straight away, this one fail already. Okay, and are they united? Not really. They fail. And when you want to do that, you keep within the house. Means you don't pull in external parties to help you push that 小人 out. You don't do that. Okay, you don't do that. Now, China, during the Cultural Revolution, just before that, the Qing Dynasty, they failed that part about, they wanted to push the Qing Dynasty out so that they can have a fresh start. But they allow external countries to come in to help them. And that is where big trouble comes in. All the 8 major countries came into Singapore, came into China, and then they each do their own agenda. That's why you see that China ultimately become a closed country after that. Right? So, but for that, I think Malaysia did not do this. Okay, so at least it passed this part here. They did not ask for external help. I'm not sure. Did they do that? I don't think they did that. Not that I know of. And then Mary said, now we have Prince Harry getting the USA media to pull the royal family down. Exactly. Yes, Mary, thank you for pointing that out. Yes, if you want to push someone out within your own house, within your own backyard, you don't put in external party. This is what is trying to advise us. Right? Because they come in with their own agenda. They are not trying here, come in to help you with a problem. They come in with their agenda. So last but not least, execute one as warning to others. Yeah, they can do that. They can always warn Najib, say, hey, we are coming strongly as one united party. So you back up or we will come in strongly. I think they tried that. So that means if you look at Malaysia, PH at a time, I think a few years back, regarding pulling down Najib, they have a legitimate cause, but they didn't do certain conditions well. And I think they failed number one and they failed number two. That is why the whole thing didn't last, even though they pulled down Najib ultimately. So you look at this. If you look at the next hexagram, you realize that the next hexagram is Tian Feng Kou. Okay, the next hexagram is Tian Feng Kou. But instead of jumping straight to Tian Feng Kou, there is a sub-process. A sub-process is Qian Gua. When you push the yin line out, what happened to the yin line is it turned into a yang line. Now, when you push everything to Qian Gua, remember, I mentioned this in AOM1, that anything that go to the max, things will reverse. So in this case here, the max is the full Qian Gua. All six are yang line. That is full max. When you go to full max, it's going to reverse. And the reverse means the ink is going to come from your back door. The ink is going to come from the back door. May not be the same ink that you push out. May be a new ink that comes in from the back door. Now, for example, PH, I think Anwar knew that soon after they took over the government. They say that corruption making inroads into PH, right? So he noted that, but he couldn't do anything because too late already. Because the back door was open, and then it was allowed to come in, allowed to grow, allowed to breed. So I think that tear down the entire PH. So remember this, when you are deciding to push out the 小人, you must also be mindful that whether you are more comfortable with that visible threat. Visible threat means, for example, this Malaysia, Najib, which is visible, or you are more comfortable with the invisible threat that comes in from the back door. Because this is two sides of the same coin. If you push all the way, the back door is going to be open, and then new ink will come in. So the new ink will be invisible because it will catch you off guard. So which one are you more comfortable with? So just be mindful whenever you want to push something all the way up to the max. That's like New Zealand. I think sometime back when they keep declaring that they were very healthy with COVID-19, 0 case, 0 case, 0 case. They thought they had pushed the virus all the way out of the country, but by the time they realized it's too late already, the COVID-19 came through by the back door again, 2 cases. And then same thing for Singapore. We thought we were doing okay. We are going from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3, things like that. And they're trying to put in, major events into Singapore, things like that. And before we know it, our back door got, being left open. Nobody know about that. COVID-19 came through the back door and now become invisible threat. We have a lot more unlinked cases, a lot more hidden reservoir we didn't know where to find. That is even worse, right? At least last time we know dormitory is visible threat. All right. Okay. But now there are a lot of unlinked cases. So it's really the invisible threat, which I think the government is very concerned about. So basically, if you look through this 拐卦, the life lesson means there is no need to be perfect to inspire others. So let others be inspired by how you deal with your own imperfections. Basically, this is what it means. Because if you push all the way to the max means perfection, the ink going to come in again anyway. So what's the point of going for perfection? Leave a little bit of imperfection, and that is the real beauty. Okay, so let's move on. Now we know if you push guai gua all the way up to max, the next thing you know is encountering. That means you're coming through the back door. That means you resurface again from the ground level. This is what it means, resurface from the ground level. It's called encountering. Encountering means encountering back that thing from the base up again. It's called 天风够. If you compress it, it's called 巽卦. Okay, 巽卦. And 巽卦tend to spread very fast because spring is 巽is like wind. It tends, excuse me, it tends to spread very fast. And what can come in from the back door? It can mean, for example, a new kind of 小人 in the form of temptation, or or it could be good, could be bad but right now let's talk about the bad side first, the temptation. Like PH, Anwar already noted that corruption already coming from the back door. Okay, and temptation usually comes through the back door that has deliberately been left open. So just be careful. Same thing for us, COVID-19. COVID-19 usually comes in through a door, right? That's deliberately been left open. What happened? Changi Airport, we left a door open at Terminal 3, and straight away, the virus came through, right through, and we were caught off guard. Then there's a lessons guidance from I Ching from this hexagram is, again, I think it's the same old thing again, back to hexagram 2.1. It's called early detection of a damaging trend or twisted logic. That's number one. Three guiding principles on how to deal with 天风够 is early detection. When you detect one case, you better nip it at the bud. We shouldn't let it continue to grow. We shouldn't let the bud continue to grow. Otherwise, it become a monster we can't control. So this is 2.1, hexagram 2.1. Next, early reversal, 不远赴. So this is a lesson drawn from hexagram 24. Means once you saw something is not right already, quickly 不远赴. 不远赴 means you turn whatever you have been doing. The earlier, the possible. So I think the multi-task force, multi-ministry task force, I think learned the hard way. They tried to 不远赴 or now they stop everything go into CB 2.0 So basically, it's the same old thing. You can keep seeing shadows of AOM1 coming back, AOM1 and the earlier lesson coming back. Next is, once you are able to nip the bud, you will turn whatever things that is not serving you, then next thing to do is mitigate the risk. Okay, mitigate the risk and then have SOP to deal with residual risk. Meaning, you need to swap the people, you need to swap the people, you need to swap the entire HDB block, you go and need to swap the entire HDB block. This is called mitigating the risk, containment. Containment. So don't let the seed of bad temptation get rooted. Basically, this is what it's trying to tell us in the 天风够. Don't let the seed of bad temptation get rooted. The moment it get rooted, it will just grow like wildfire. That's like COVID-19 like that. So back to the point about 能要不能要, 该要不该要. So we may not be talking about COVID-19. We could be talking about monetary temptation. We could be talking about favors. It could be talking about gifts and bribery, things like that. So it's 该要不该要, 能要不能要. Don't let it get rooted. Now, what if you have a new dynasty? Let's say for Malaysia, it has a new dynasty. Not dynasty, sorry. You have a new government, which is good government, competent government, legitimate government. and you start to grow new people from the ground. That is also encountering grow new people from the ground, because 天风够, right? 天风够. If all these top parts are the leader, then this bottom line, the in line, can be newbies lah. Can be newbies, newbies. Okay, so if you allow these newbies, good newbies, to continue to grow, what will happen is that it will form clusters. That's like COVID-19 lah. If you let get rooted, it will form into clusters soon enough. So let's move on to hexagram 45, clustering. 地则萃, sorry, 则地萃. So in this 则地萃 clustering hexagram, the Chinese part says here, 则上于地萃. Loosely translated means individually we are one drop, together we are an ocean. Oh my God, this applies to COVID very well. Individually, that one virus is just one virus, but together they are unstoppable pandemic. Yeah. So yeah, just be careful about trade. I mean, when you try to pull in newbies, you must watch out, because they can form clusters very fast. I think I can skip this. I think everybody know in Singapore, once we allow this virus to come in through the back door and you get rooted, cluster will grow sooner or later. So 则地萃, look at this, 则地萃. If you compress it, is a 坎卦. Okay, it's a 坎卦. So that means this clustering thing, when people come to form clusters, when COVID come to form clusters, there is a hidden danger, and we have to be mindful of this hidden danger. Now, have you realized one thing? Is that in the upper series, when we're talking about upper series, the 坎卦 comes out as a visible danger. Visible in the upper series. You can look back at the sequence chart. You find that almost every hexagram that follows has a 坎卦 in the upper series. Now, when it comes to the lower series, the 坎卦 suddenly disappear. But where did the 坎卦 go? The 坎卦 become invisible threat. Invisible threat means it get hidden in this manner. That means it is hidden inside the hexagram. Sometimes it may look good, sometimes it may look bad, but it's hidden there. So that means we are going from upper series, we are going from visible danger to invisible danger in the lower series. That is why lower series is all about inner cultivation. That means your own integrity, your own cultivation, your own uprightness and virtues and things like that play a very big part and important part in containing this hidden danger. Now, 则地萃 means getting together. It's something similar to 比卦. 比卦 is also getting together. All right. So it's also very similar to hexagram 13, 同人卦. It's also getting together. So you can see these three are pretty similar to each other. And so it can mean team, a group, a unit. And whenever you want to talk about a team dynamic, we can look at, for example, hexagram 8, hexagram 13, and also hexagram 45, because they relate to a team. Now let's take a closer look at this team dynamic here. If you look at this hexagram, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 yin lines and 2 yang lines. So basically, it means there are more followers in the world out there. There are more followers than leaders. That means leaders are very rare and far in between. Very good leaders, good leaders are very rare and far in between. And a lot are more of followers. So basically means few good leaders, far in between. And that is why it is very important and very useful if you can search for, find, and follow a very good leader. Now, that's why many followers would like to search for good leaders and then follow. Then 折地脆 can also means cliques, clusters, informal cliques, and things like that. So let us examine even closer. In a clique, in a team, in a group, how is the dynamic like? A typical dynamic, team dynamic. Now, type in the chat box. Which line do you think is the leader? Which line do you think is the leader? Type in the chat box. Okay, Joanna, very good. Line 5. Mary say line 5. Good. Line 5. We all know line 5 means the leader. Now, Helen say 4 and 5. Now, let's say in a team, there should only be one leader. If there's two leader, this team is going to break very soon. You can have a deputy leader, that's fine, but you cannot have two equally strong leader. So Helen, no, not 4 and 5, but it's 5. 5 alone is the leader. 4, by virtue of its position, can be considered as deputy. Okay, deputy leader. So 5 is the true leader. 4 is the deputy leader. So this is how we see and interpret the lines. Okay, so this is common sense, and then this is also human nature, that followers who want to get in the good book of the leader. That means the line 5. Everybody who want to try to be in the good book of the leader, the line 5. I mean, this is human nature. I mean, it happened to me, it happened to a lot of people also. Human nature. Now, let me ask you, if everybody want to try to get into the good books of the 5th line leader, which of the follower do you think has a better chance? Now that you have learned AOM, you should be able to tell straight away which of the followers, that means line 1, 2, 3, and 6, has a better chance to get into the good books of line 5. Helen said 2, Joanna said 2. Very good, 2. Because it resonates. Line 1 resonates better with line 4. Line 2 resonates better with line 5. And line 3 resonates better with line 6. So because of this resonance, this line 2 follower can get into the good book of line 5 easier than the rest of the followers by virtue of this resonance. Okay? So, because line 2 so easily become the apple of line 5, line 2 can also easily invite the jealousy of line 1 and 3. I don't think line 6 will be jealous, because line 6 is already so way up already, so it won't be that jealous. It's actually line 1 and line 3 will get jealous of line 2. And because of this, that is why you have office politics, because of jealousy. Why line 2, want to get things from the boss so easy, we want to get things from the boss so difficult, and line 2 always get all the perks, and then we don't get, line 2 get time off so easily, but we can't, their leave so easy to get, but we can't, so they tend to sabotage line 2 more. And that's where this politics comes in. They start to spread rumors, gossip about line 2 and things like that. So things turn ugly. So this is a typical team dynamic, and it is, you can see everywhere. So why is it happening? I think now you can tell from this clustering why is it so, because of this energy dynamic. Okay, so you need to know how to manage as a line 5 if you have such thing. So don't show favoritism. But it's very hard. You tend to have, as a boss, as a leader, you tend to have someone who are able to somehow know what you want and get into your good books somehow. Okay, so coming together is a beginning, but working together is a progress. So if let's say you're starting from scratch, you're gathering all the newbies, form a team, and then you want to have a very good performing team, putting them together, putting all the good newbies together, it's just a beginning, but getting them to work together, it's a tough progress. Okay, but if you were able to get them together and work as a team effectively and efficiently, that is where you will see progression or called ascending. 地风生 hexagram 46. Okay, 地风生 hexagram 46. That is where you start to grow. Again, if you look at this one, there's hidden 坎卦 again. So on your way up the ladder, is telling us here that there is a hidden danger. So on your way up, just be careful. Or just be careful on your way up. And this hexagram is going to show us how to rise safely. How to rise safely. Yeah. So 升卦, ascending 卦, basically what it means is 升官发财 啦. This 升官发财 this one. 升官发财, advance and prosper. Now, if you look at this diagram, this slides here, the rise, the going up the stairs, all right, going up the stairs, and all these steps are built in the middle of an ocean or river or whatever you call it. So that means when you're on your way up there, be careful, because the moment you get derailed, just because you did something stupid or complacency or arrogance or things like that, or you step onto the tiger's tail and you get derailed and you drop into the ocean, there you go. You're 升官, but you cannot 发财. Okay, so remember this. Now, progression. This hexagram is telling us that not only we need to progress along the material growth, this part here, material growth, which everyone is looking for, aiming for, putting a lot of 90% of their time on this part here, and only handful would also focus here. I Ching says, please don't neglect this part here. Personal growth, don't neglect. You should grow both way. Okay, grow both way, because in the lower series, you will need this a lot. Your personal part, your personal growth, your personal cultivation and things like that. You need that part. In the upper series, yes, everybody going for this, fine. It's common sense. It's normal. Okay, human nature. But fine. But once you get there already, concentrate on your personal growth as well. So in the 卦辞, it says 元亨用见大人. 大人 comes out again here. Okay, so what it means here is 元亨 means good progress. If you need to grow, you grow, fine, good progress. But you need to leverage on your mentor's help. Remember the 乾卦, there's one part there you need to have your mentor to come in. Okay, so this part here also, leverage on your mentor's help to make you go up the corporate ladder. If you're able to leverage on that, then you can go up. No worries. But 南征集 means you got to stay aligned and intentional. Align means align to where you want to head towards to, and be intentional about your choice, your action, so that you are on the right path. Okay, 象辞. 象辞 means 地中生木. 地中生木 means this one. Wait, let me pull out this one. 地风生地中 this is earth. This is 地. 地中生木 this is 木. 巽卦 is 木, so it's called 地中生木啦。Here is called 地中生木生，君子以圣德，积小以成高大。Here means 积小以成高大。This part here means when you want to grow big and climb up, you must accumulate, 积小成多。Okay, accumulate your foundation until it become a very strong foundation for you. So loosely translated, what it means here is don't rise on a weak foundation. Okay, don't rise on a weak foundation. That means, you've been parachuted in without any good foundation. the moment people trying to derail you, and once you can get derailed, it's very hard for you to climb back up. Basically, this is what it means. So, for example, look at these two A and B picture. This A picture here is a very fragile plant trees, and then B are all the very solid, sturdy plants. Now, for example, for someone who get parachuted in and sit in a very high place with very high authority and power, but the base is very fragile and weak, not solid enough. Imagine if, let's say, I chop away this B, chop away these seemingly very strong trees. But because the root is very weak, it get uprooted very easily, and there's no way for this tree to grow back up. If, let's say, it looks strong on the outside, but the roots are very weak, then it can get uprooted very easily. Now, on the other hand, for A, if I want a good wood to build, for example, furniture, for example, I'm a carpenter, I'm looking for good wood, I would naturally go for B. I would just give A a pass. Okay, I will ignore A because it looks weak, doesn't looks good for my furniture, so I'll just leave A apart. So in real life, if you relate back to real life, it means for someone who may look very weak at this moment now, and people get ignored and people ignore you, so be it. Okay, so be it. The lesson here is that you don't want to be a sturdy tree with lousy roots. Because when people want to chop trees down, they'll look for this kind of sturdy wood. Right? So for A, for those who think, for those who think you were at A, okay, then when people ignoring you, never mind. You continue to grow your roots, go until so strong and deeply rooted. And then by the time you grow up so big like B like that, when people chop halfway, you still can survive. You will not be totally uprooted. So this is called 地风生. If you want to grow and you don't want to be uprooted that easily, you grow your foundation first. Alan say like 乾卦 line 2, exactly. Okay, exactly. Zun Gua, remember Zun Gua hexagram 3? After we talk about 乾卦, we talk about Kun Gua, then we talk about Zun Gua hexagram 3 sprouting. And I show you a video about a seed underground, and I show you how this seed grow. It will grow downward first. It will get itself rooted first, build a foundation first before it grow upward. So Sen Gua, you can refer back to the Zun Gua, how it grow the seed, you grow yourself. Basically, this is what it means here. So it's okay to be slow and weak now. Learn to be adaptable and be resilient. Okay, so we talk about material growth, right? A lot of us concentrate on material growth. I mean, this is fair. Everybody do so. I do so too. But come to a certain stage, you have to focus back on your personal growth. Now, I've seen a lot of my clients, they have amassed a lot of material growth. A lot. VP lah, stay in landed lah, blah, 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 blah lah. But they don't have personal growth. And then they come and see me. Now, what is the reason of coming to see me? It's like the clients felt that they are not growing at all. I mean, internally, they are not growing at all. That's why they felt stuck. This word here, stuck. Okay? It feels like everyone else is moving on with their life while I'm stuck here in this hole that I can't climb out of. So they felt like that. When they come to see me, I ask them why they look good on the outside, but why do they need help? They say they felt stuck in that hole. So the material growth wasn't able to give them that unstuckness. So they still need to go back to their personal growth. And with that, okay, that stuckness bring us to the next hexagram called hexagram 47, 泽水困, confining. Confining means stuck, or you get confined, you can't move up and down. So it's something like 剪卦. You can't move forward, you can't move backward. So confining is something similar. So let's move on with this. Chinese, 虚卦传 says, 生而不己必困. 生而不己必困，故受之以困。Means if you rise and you don't take care of your personal growth, sooner or later you get yourself into confining hexagram 困。Example. Growing companies hit with cash flow problem, very common. Growing companies hit with cash flow problem, very common. If you don't take care of your foundation, and then you hit into this, you get in yourself into that kun situation. Or a blockbuster movie, before it can be official release, pirated movie already on sales outside. Okay, so again, the movie distributor in a stuck situation. There are many more such cases lah. So I'm talking about the commercial part, but it can also means your own personal life. Now, if you talk about kun, then remember this picture. Okay, remember this picture. Kun is something like hurdles after hurdles. So this is like our life journey. Our life journey sometimes is like a kun kind of situation. It's like a hurdle race whereby you felt stuck because you had to cross hurdle after hurdle after hurdle, and the hurdle seems to be non-stop. And that's where you felt stuck. So I Ching give us two way of forging forward. How would you respond to the hurdles in your life? One is to abandon the race. Abandon the race, which is a lot of people did that. They trying to trying to do something to get to where they want to be. All right, but they hit with hurdles, and then halfway through they just abandon the race lah, and then they back to where they were lah. Or another option is you forge forward. 天行健嘛，天行健 tell us to forge forward one. So if you have one hurdle, you cross the hurdle. If you have the second hurdle, you cross the second hurdle. If you have a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you cross all those 7 hurdles. Basically means when you come to the bridge, then you cross it lah. 船到桥头自然直. But you have to move forward. Now, move forward is one thing, but move forward also got their ways to move forward. One is move forward with moral integrity, or you can attempt to take dishonest shortcut. A lot of people, not a lot of people, some people like to take dishonest shortcut to overcome their barriers. And that is where they get derailed easily, because those are trapdoors. Okay, you come so far and you decided to take this honest shortcut and you get derailed. This is really in Hokkien called I want. You already come so far already. Then again, when you watch people cross their hurdles, means you never really know the true quality of someone's character until the road gets rocky. So Chinese call 热酒见人心啦. Basically, this is what it means. You see them, how they cross their hurdle, you know how they behave lah, and that's someone's characters. Okay? So basically here, no one really cares how much you do until they know how much you care, which is pretty true. So like for example, last year, even though the dormitory, the big outbreak of COVID-19, we government still take care of them. So the migrant worker know that, Singapore government actually really care for them. So, so for Singapore government, the multi-task force, they keep on crossing hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. They just do it. They just have to cross. That's like the fallen leaf. If they need to sweep, they just need to sweep. It's just like another hurdle next day. So how to forge wrong? Let's move on to talk about this 折水困. Okay, so if you look at the 象辞 is actually trying to explain this as an image. Okay, this as an image. If you look at this, there are 3 young, 1, 2, 3. These 3 young people, young means we as people are trapped by 3 ink hurdles. So all these ink are actually hurdles. You're trying to cross one after another. And here it says that 显宜说 actually is not 说, it's actually 悦. 悦 means happy. They mean cross this hurdle with joy, with a smile, overcome with a smile and growth mindset. Basically, this is what it means. This 说 is actually 悦. 悦 is this one. means happy. 困而不失其所 hung means as you cross the hurdle and when the next hurdle comes along, you have to stay true and intentional. That means again back to your intention and staying true. 真 okay 真 and then you see the 真 come out already 真大人急以刚中也大人 here means not the save the people that can save you 大人 means you yourself be the 大人 that means in addition to staying true you have to act like a 大人 means upright okay upright and be upright and deal with the obstacles with integrity and then you just forge forward with action 有言不信 means you just go ahead lah, or forge forward with action. So basically, this histogram, to sum up, is trying to tell us, yes, expect obstacles along the way, expect not only one, not only two, but a lot along the way. You just have to move forward, stay intentional, cross the obstacle with uprightness and integrity. Okay, so now my question for you is how do we forge forward? Now, in order how to forge forward, then we have to move on to the next hexagram called hexagram 48, 水风景 well. It's very interesting how our ancestors look at things around us in our surrounding, even daily things. Last time, well is a daily essential thing, okay, and this well can actually teach us a lot of life lessons. So let's take a look at this hexagram 48, 水风景. What life lesson can we learn from there? And well, hexagram well is one hexagram that is able to show us how to get out of bottleneck. That means out of your obstacles. Okay, 断词. Look at 断词迅乎水上水水而上水井 basically what it means to get the water well well if you the purpose of that well is to get the water so if you want to get the success you need to lower the bucket into the water. That means again challenges. That means if you want success you have to go through the challenges. And then if you move down here, it says the job is never done if the bucket is not fully out of the well. Meaning your success or the water, your success, still in the well, below the well, even though it's in your bucket already, it's still not your success, it's still not yours until the bucket is fully pulled out of the well into your hand. So if you're enjoying midway success, it's still not your success until you have reached the end of that milestone. Then you can call that as your success. That means once you cross that milestone, means that bucket of water is finally out of the well into your hand. Okay. Then again, the last part here, the well is useless without the right tool. Means the bucket lah. So if you want success, you have to use the right tool. You cannot use a broken bucket. It's not going to work for you. You are not going to pull any water out from the well with a broken bucket. So have to use the right tools. Same thing for life. Okay, let's move on. Now let's move on to some of the life lessons from the individual lines. Now, line one, how to get yourself out of the bottleneck. Okay, for example, if let's say your life right now you're experiencing stagnancy, no growth, things like that, how to pull yourself out means basically how to pull yourself out of the well. Learn this lesson well. Line one, 井泥不实，旧井无情, meaning don't behave like the sediment at the bottom of the well. You know, the well at the bottom part. If I draw the well, the water is here. Somewhere at the bottom, there's all these sand sediments. Okay, so it says here, don't behave like the sediment at the bottom of the well. The sediment are not usable. Okay, if you pull out a bucket of water full of the sand, you need to filter out the sediments because they are not usable, they are not drinkable. So don't be that, because the moment you behave like a sediment, nobody wants you. They see you as not usable. So if you find yourself stagnant, you may want to do some inward looking, whether are you behaving like a sediment. Okay, next, these are the people who give up on themselves, lah, basically. And then they become a dead wood or a dead weight to the team, to entire team. That's why the boss want to get rid of this dead wood, something like that. So others avoid you because they know you can contaminate the water. Or in a layman way, it can be an energy vampire because the whole team has to spend time and effort to deal with you alone because you can't contribute, something like that. So if you want to get out of stagnancy and things like that, or you find that you have nothing in life, don't behave like a sediment. Let's move on. Next, line 2, don't be the bucket that leaks. Repair and maintain the bucket and be coachable. That means if people want to use you, people see you as a tool, okay, as a good tools to use, and want to use you. For example, your boss want to recruit you or want to have you in their team. You don't be a bucket that leaks. People ask you to do things that you only deliver 6:30 kind of job, so it's a bucket that leaks. All right. So if you think you are that bucket that leaks, repair and maintain yourself. And last but not least, be coachable. Okay, be coachable. Next, line 3. Okay, improve but still not being recognized. That means if you have done line 1 and line 2, you know your sediment and you repair your own bucket. You don't want to be a leaking bucket. You improve yourself. Yes, good. But at line 3, although you have improved, you are still not being recognized. So this is a state of neither here nor there. Remember, line 3 and 4 is always 不三不四. And same thing with our life. I think I've seen through this stage with many of my clients who have improved a lot since the first day I met them, but they have improved not beyond a state where they'll see improvement yet, but they are at this line 3, line 4. They say that they feel that they have improved, but how come the boss still don't get to see it? How come they're not given a second chance yet, or they don't get to find a good mentor, things like that. So they're at line 3 and line 4 actually. So at this stage here, you have to keep your faith strong and going. Be a latent dragon. That means go back to 乾卦. Hexagram 1.1. Be a latent dragon. That means you still have to build your own foundation, keep on improving yourself, and then 守时待命. Okay, 守时待命. Continue. Don't give up. You give up, that's it. Give up means you abandon the race. Then you move up to line 4. Line 4 is again 不三不四, not here, not there. So it's still like that. That means you have improved even further, but you're still not being recognized. Okay, so the advice here at this stage is continue, identify and fill up any gaps. If you continue to self-reflect and find that there's still gaps, continue improving it. 修身待时, again, it's 守时待命. Now, the good news when you're at line 4 is that line 4, the next one is line 5 already. That means your mentor, your 大人 is here, is nearby, is showing up very soon. Now, if you choose to give up at this level, at this point, you are actually abandoning the race. And then there you go. So near yet so far. Okay? So at this stage, even though it's 不三不四, you still have to keep on moving. And then line 5, you've finally been recognized. And then you've been groomed into a leader. Now you are a leader yourself. You have to behave like a clean, pure water. Here, this one. This is 坎卦. 坎卦 is water. You have to behave like a clean, pure water. Be neutral. Otherwise, factions means cliques will form, clusters will form, then you have a big trouble. So if you're already a leader, you can look back at all the 比卦, all the 萃卦, to look for insights how to be a good leader. Line 6. Okay, line 6. Now, usually line 6, norms is that for most of the hexagram, line 6 is no good. Okay, most of the hexagram, line 6 is no good. But for this hexagram, so far, when I look through all, I think this is the only hexagram that say line 6 is yuan ji. Oh, very good. So that means this hexagram is telling us that you have to go all the way to line 6 before it becomes ji. That's what I mentioned. The water or your success is not yours until you fully pull the bucket out of the well into your hand. This is line 6. Or it is considered success only if the bucket is fully out of the water. And after that, don't cover the well after success. That means avoid fixed mindset. That means you have come to that part already, you don't close off your mindset and say that you are the best. Or you're the best. And then you become tone deaf and become complacency and blah, 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 blah. And then you get derailed again. So you need to keep on recharging, adapting, and innovating. And then listen. Listen. Okay. So basically, this is the life lesson from well. Okay, hexagram well, 水风景 and this is a very good lesson for us. Teach us how to get out of any stagnancy situation or any obstacles. Is you just have to forge forward, move, and pull your way all the way from line 1 to line 6. This is the only hexagram that I know of that advise us to go all the way to 6. Then you can stop. After that, remain as open mindset. Okay, so far, I think I'm done with this 水风景. At this point, any question, anyone?